So as you've seen through the interviews or the two interviews that I had, and then also just talking to some folks, not on camera, just in quick passing by conversation, a lot of the barrier to entry to get people into the cryptocurrency space, the investing space, financial literacy space is really just education. Um, didn't hear that was always number one. Didn't hear too many other ways or ideas thrown out that could actually do the job. And honestly, not sure there are any other ways. Education is the biggest piece. You don't know what you don't know, but also you have to be willing to learn. We can provide education. You can get up there and teach and preach, but you need can fall on deaf ears. You need people to listen. You need people to apply. Um, you just need that active engagement. So how to get that part, that's on an individual standpoint. Maybe it's not for everybody. Maybe you can't save everybody. There's always those different things, but in a sense of just to getting that exposure, maybe just seeing more people do it, seeing more people in it, um, and it's a lot of hand holding. I think at the end of the day, it's more than just education. I think if we really want to see some kind of mass adoption, especially in the minority space, it's going to be a lot of hand holding. Because just in a simple instance of if someone invests or someone put money into it and they see it go down, they're gonna automatically want to pull the money out, or they're gonna say, "Oh, I knew it. I knew I shouldn't have did this. I knew it was a scam." They're looking at it in an immediate standpoint, a time frame versus a long-term time frame. So they're looking for and they're checking for returns of their money in a linear fashion, like straight up, straight up, straight up. Without seeing that roller coaster style uh, line of progress. So as soon as the slightest dip happen, their $1,000 turn into $600, they're gonna be ready to pull the money out, and not knowing or not being patient enough or not having the stomach to to wait that out before it can go down to even 400, but it's going to go back up to 1,200 and 2,000 in a matter of days, weeks, or months, where they couldn't get that kind of return at anywhere else. They rather just put it safely in a bank, grow a fraction of a percentage. I mean, even if you have like a high yield saving account, so 3 to 4%, let's just say 5% for the sake of numbers, which I don't know too many of them out there that's getting 5%, but a lot of people will rather just park, that $1,000 in a high yield saving account, and get their $50 a year, So then in 1 year's time, they'll have 1,050. Then it compounds over that. It compounds. So, it's not too, but they never see their money go down. So, it's not really a pro and con to me, but the pro of it is that you never lose any money. At least it's a highly unlikely. There is still a risk that you can lose money in the banking system if everything crashed and just different things like that. But the con is that you don't gain any money really. You gain money at a slower rate, and it's not going to get you. It's not a true investment. It's a place you store money for, to have liquid assets that you're going to spend pretty soon. But if you're looking for a true savings that you're not going to touch for a while, you need to invest that. But a lot of people, again, they put that $1,000 in. They rather put it in high yields and get that $50 a year. It'll go up a little bit over the years with compounding interest, but versus if you put that $1,000 into an investment, put it into the right one. I mean, even like say the S&P 500 or SPY, or whatever it is, it has I think a growth rate of 8% or something. Let's just say 10% again for the sake of numbers, because we're just gonna round. That $1,000, now you gaining $100 a year. So now that 1,000 went to 1,100, and then that 1,100 is going to gain 10%. But there's other assets out there that return higher yields. There's different things you can do, but again, it's all about education. It's all about tolerance for losing money, or just the idea of losing money. You know, it's not really a true loss until you actually sell. If you hold on to the asset and you make you know, solid decisions on where to park your money at, then you'll be fine. But I seen people that won't invest because of the fear of losing money, but go out and spend and waste money on things that they don't even really like. They'll go spend, you know, $200-300 at a bar, another $100 on a meal, you know, when you get meal, drinks, and tips. They'll go spend, you know, they're spending money so many other places, which is their money. They can do that. They're paying for entertainment, they're paying for an experience, they're paying for whatever it is. But at the same time, they complain about not having money and not being able to save money or not having money to invest. Where, you know, you can clearly see you do. It's just your priorities and of what you know you choose experience over, you know, return or long-term investing, which is nothing wrong with that. But you know, you have to have a fine balance, or you know, you got to have a ratio of how you want to do it. And if you don't want to do any of those at all, either side, then don't complain about not having it. You know, don't complain about not being able to invest or seeing returns. Don't complain about not having the experiences and not being able to go on vacation, or not being able to go out and have fun when all you're doing is putting your money into the market. You know, so I mean, there is a balance between it, and it's always risk. It's risk in doing anything. You know. I know more people, to me, my life is more precious than money. So I know a lot of people that go out and get blitzed and drinking and get in their car and try to drive home. You know, like, that's more of a risk than me putting money in any kind of market and it going down. You know, like, you run a risk of getting a DUI, you run a risk of getting an accident, getting a ticket, you run a risk of losing your life, you know, or causing somebody else to lose their life. You know, there's different things that people just don't think about at the end of the day. But all in all, we're not here to try to change anybody's minds. We just want to provide exposure, education, and also just be like a beacon, a shining light of, you know, doing what you need to do. You know, it's more than one ways. It's more than one way to do the things that you want to do, or to achieve the things that you want to do. But we gotta get out of these, not even generational curses, is generational blockades. You know, we have a lot of blockers in front of us. There's a lot of blockers in people's life. There's a lot of mentality issues. You know, people that took on that mentality of the previous generation. Not all of them are bad, you know, but we need to do more optimizing. Be your own filter. Take the good, filter out the bad, and that good and bad is going to differ between personalities, or are going to differ between people. You know, so what's good and bad for me may not be good and bad for you. But at the end of the day, if we have the same goals, if we have similar goals, and we're doing similar things, then we should be pretty much aligned and lock in step in majority of the things that we do. So just some things to think about. But yeah, again, you know, we was at the Bitcoin conference 2026. It's not even just cryptocurrency. It's just finances in general. You know, our culture has a weird place with money, with finances. Our country has a weird relationship with the finances. Whether it's budgeting, whether it's just the idea of talking about it, whether it's investing, saving, whether it's managing bills, you know, whether it's the fear of having the lack thereof, the fear of, you know, not having, I don't know, you know, I'm just kind of just spitballing right now, but hopefully y'all get what I'm trying to say. If not, got plenty of time to record another video. But again, doing too much. We out, baby.